This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double of premium original detail product for half the price. Head over to pattersoncarcare.com or go to the link in the description below. What's going on, guys? And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in this absolutely beautiful BMW E30 Wagon. It's quirky, it's weird, it's not very common. This car was imported by Eurofed. There are a series of shops if you have a European car to get your work done, and they'll help you out. So this car was imported by them, and then they got the drivetrain mounted and ready to go. So the motor bolted in, the suspension already, the rear subframe and everything is from the clown shoe Z3M, and then up front is some E36 parts in the suspension as well. So you have this hybrid of everything, of kind of the best hits of the era in one car. As you can tell, I'm pretty giddy about this one. I'm extremely excited to drive this one, not only because I'm driving a wagon, but because it has one of my favorite motors ever in it. Not to mention the E36, this is actually an E36 transmission. You guys might be, oh, did he use the R154, W58, V160? No, they use the E36 with a special adapter bell housing. But when you pop that hood, that's definitely not the same motor as the E36. What we have here is a 1JZ non-VVTi with a Borg Warner 7670 with almost no lag. The motor itself internally is completely bone stock, but what we have here is making nearly 500 horsepower to the wheels. So in this wagon that weighs 2,800 pounds, we have 500 horsepower. Now it doesn't look like it would be 2,800 pounds, right? It looks like it'd be a little bit heavier, but since it's an older car from the 90s, it's light. You also might notice it has this kind of fishbowl effect. It's actually kind of hard to film this video right now because there is so much light coming into the cabin because of how much glass there is. And this is before all the safety regulations and what have you when cars started to get bigger. The interior of this is very much like any other E30, really. And it has a little bit of E36 as well. The era of BMW, all the interiors had a similar vibe. And at the same time, I've driven the E30 before with an older BMW motor in it, and I've also driven the 2002. But is this my favorite older BMW I've driven so far? I think so. So what happens next, right? Eurofed imports the car, then Victory Motorsports decides to do everything else. What they did was do all the plumbing, the hard stuff. The wiring harness is a custom wiring harness done in-house, and it's very much tucked. It's very hard to see. Along with that, they have a beautiful coil pack cover they did, and it's etched on. It looks magnificent. Motor itself looks incredibly clean, and the bay is incredibly clean and well done. Okay, so that was weird. That was my first time getting on it, right? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do terrible at shifting. This is not gonna be good. I'm gonna embarrass myself in front of all of you. No, it was fine. I definitely wasn't hitting red line, but I was getting used to it. And when I'm in boost, I find it easier to drive. It's kind of weird. Only bad thing is you can't stop. Like, I want to go faster, but I have no room to stop, so that makes everything sketchier. Problem is that the 1J is a tight fit. I mean, you see the radiator, you see everything, it's a tight fit. Also has Victory injection 1000cc injectors. But we are on pump gas, we're not on E85, so nothing to worry about. We're not gonna run out of gas today. We're not gonna have, you know, 85 seat belted in the back today. Speaking of the back seat and the interior, there is scratch on the dash right here, but everything else is near perfection. It looks very nice. I love that they kept it this way. I love that it's all original. The seats are original. We also have manual windows, but we also have a manual sunroof. So you pull down the handle and you crank the sunroof like this. It's really odd. We also have cassette holders in the center console that you snap open. It's pretty wild. Let's talk about the wheel and tire setup. We have Toyo 888s in the rear. We originally were gonna film this a few days ago, and unfortunately it started raining. Well, I'm very glad we held off, because Toyo 888s in the rain, not a good idea. Almost might as well be driving on a drag sling. It's not smart. But grip-wise, this car hooks up and it goes. Wastegate is so weird. When it's controlling the boost and making that flutter sound, it almost reminds me of when you drive like a high horsepower Subaru. You get this really intense fluttery noise. The wagon as well is just so deceiving, because at the end of the day, it's like this grandma car that's fast. This red box makes 500 wheel horsepower, and you would just never expect it. It has this menacing kind of tilt to it because of how big the rear tires are. It has this really nice stance to it, and it makes it look like I mean business and I mean going to get groceries. We also have boost by gear through a Link ECU. So it's a full Link standalone ECU to hook up to the 1J to make everything communicate. You can definitely tell though, the car is boost by gear, because that second gear roll-in I just did, yeah, it felt quick, but man, third and fourth, they feel so much faster. But that gives the car traction, and that also applies to how linear it is to drive. And so therefore, when I'm getting on it, it's not scary at first, and that's why you might see a look of shock in my face, but it's actually a look of shock of how well it's hooking and how well it's holding up. I'm expecting this wagon to be a 2,800 pound mess, but it's just not. Stop, please. Ah! It'll be the freaking Hulk to stop this thing. It's so funny, like over the years I've driven so many fast cars, but this car, the speed isn't scaring me. It's slowing down that's scaring me. But I'm not terrified, I just need to brake ahead of time. I just drove this 1JZ SC300, and it sounds so completely different than this car does. This with the full exhaust out the bat with the Apexi muffler, it's much more toned down. You just feel the power more than hear the power. So it's funny how even though this car is technically faster, it's less intense, if that makes sense. Look, barely in it. We also have a brake booster delete, which you need to stomp on the brake pedal to get this thing to stop. The shifter itself, by the way, is enormous and it's got a lot of play in it. I mean, the E36 shifter, I forgot how much play there is in it. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I don't know when I'm in gear or not. If neutral, it's like, am I in gear or am I in neutral? This is also the days before every steering wheel in the world had a zillion buttons on it. It is the most basic steering wheel I've seen in years. It's just like, here you go, it's a car. I've always loved the simplicity of the E30, regardless if it's a wagon or not. E30 has a very simple design. The parts are simple. The body is extremely simple. It's a box, right? It's not very complicated. Fifth gear is like the only gear I'm just not quite sure if I've accomplished the mission or not. I just absolutely love the passion around this car, because think about it, to a normal person, you're gonna see this car and go, it's just an old BMW. But to us, to car enthusiasts, they go, wagon? Wagons do not sell well in the US, which is incredibly frustrating. They check every box that a person needs. They can be fun, they can be fast, they can be useful. You can fit so much back there. And that's why the return of cars like the RS6 Avant is such a big deal. But cars like this in the United States, it's a treat. When you see a wagon, somehow they are cooler than their sedan counterparts, which were supposed to be the cool ones. It's funny how that works out sometimes. The rear gearing is 373, so it really works out as a fun car to rip around, especially at lower speeds. But highway driving, since it's a 5-speed and 373s, you're up there. You're up there in the RPMs. We were cruising from Caffeine and Octane this morning, Cars and Coffee in Atlanta, essentially. And as we were cruising on the highway, I kept having to remember in my 10-speed Mustang that we had to wait up sometimes. So what do you guys think about the E30 Wagon, especially with a 1J in it? Is it the perfect match? Let me know in the comment section below. And on that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I will see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a wonderful day.